This was a wonderful companion to a Middle Eastern stew my wife made. Today I'm making Qualinesti vegetable stew from Heroes Feast, the official Dungeons & Dragons cookbook. If you've made this recipe, share your thoughts in the comments below. This dish took more prep work than cooking effort, but it was a refreshing dish to make. I began by assembling the ingredients: 1/3 cup olive oil, 5 garlic cloves, 2 teaspoons minced fresh thyme, 1 large yellow onion, salt, 15 ounces tomato puree, 1 teaspoon sugar, black pepper, 1/4 cup chopped fresh basil, 1 zucchini, 1 yellow squash, 1 Japanese eggplant. I didn't read the cook's note about using slender eggplants, so I used a globe eggplant instead, and 4 plum tomatoes. I think the most important part of cooking is the prep work, so I prepped my ingredients before touching the oven or stove. I began by crushing and chopping the garlic. Setting it aside, I moved to the thyme. Removing most of the stems and mincing the rest. I set the thyme aside and bundled up the basil, rough chopping it before setting it aside as well. Next were the vegetables. I started with the onion, finally chopping it with minimal tears shed. Next up were the larger vegetables. Each had to be washed and cut approximately 1/4 inch thick. My cuts were much more varied unintentionally. With the zucchini, squash, and eggplant sliced, I finished with the tomatoes. Now that the prep work was done, I heated up my cast iron skillet on medium and added about 1/4 of the olive oil, garlic, and thyme, cooking till the garlic was simmering. Then I took it out to use as a garnish over top the assembled dish in a few minutes. I added the remainder of the oil till it was warm, then added the onions and seasoned it. After about 4 minutes, the onion was softened and I added the rest of the garlic, stirring till it was fragrant. Then I added the tomato puree and seasoned it, stirring it all together, letting it simmer for around 7 minutes to let the puree thicken. Then I removed it from the heat and folded in 2 tablespoons of basil, stirring it in and smoothing it out into a single layer. Next, I assembled the dish by layering the eggplant, zucchini, squash, and tomatoes, beginning from the outside, spiraling in. I had a lot of vegetables, or I didn't layer them tightly enough. In either case, I had more than one layer of vegetables in my dish. I placed it on my preheated oven set to 375 degrees for 30 minutes, covered. After 30 minutes, I removed the lid and allowed it to cook for an additional 20 minutes until the outer edges were boiling. Finally, I removed it from the oven and let it cool for 10 minutes after garnishing it with the last of the basil. We thoroughly enjoyed this dish with a stew my wife made. Alone, I fear it wouldn't have been hearty enough to satisfy me for a meal, but it is definitely a recipe worthy of trying out. Thank you for tuning in to this DragonLance recipe episode. This has been Adam with DragonLance Saga, and until next time, Slàinte mhath.